Iki mai, kake mai, nau mai, haere mai. E ngā manu ti ori ori o te ao, Aotearoa, Nepal, nau mai, tēnā koutou katoa. I want you to listen to the cry, also the celebratory song of the tui, saying, if I'm impinged on by, by the environment that I live in, that I don't have the freedom, how can I sing my freedom to the rest of the world? The tui. Whakarongo ki te tangi a te tui. Tui, tui, tui tui a. Tui ei runga, tui ei raro, tui ei waho, tui ei roto. Tui i te muka tangata, tākia mai Hawaii ki nui, Hawaii ki roa, Hawaii ki pāmamao. The elegance and the beauty and the power of language is embodied in that celebratory song of the tui. No longer is the Māori language in danger. It's still got a long way to go. But the song of the tui can be heard as well, ringing out across our forest, our oceans, our land, and across the homes of our people. So we come here to celebrate our legacy. We come here to honour people who travel halfway around the world to come here. And one of them taught us a song from New Zealand just a short time ago, and we're beginning to realise the immensity of the work that Sir Edmund Hillary planted the seeds of Aotearoa, New Zealand, teaching the Māori language in that country. E kore ahau e wareware tia he kākono I ruia mai I rangiatea te tangata noi kore. Heroes don't live forever, but those who live without trying are forgotten. A proverb that tells us of the greatness of one individual or amongst many heroes here in New Zealand, and his name is Edmund Hillary. And at the moment we're watching the deteriorating health of another great hero in South Africa. And so when we compare Lincoln, Gandhi, Churchill, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Pope John, and our very own Sir Edmund Hillary, alongside another great iconic figure who's still alive, that's Nelson Mandela. Isn't it great to walk in the shadow of giants who cast that benevolent shadow of safety and dignity and the living prisons of life that they give us to our world? And so tonight we honour one of those great people. One of them grew up in New Zealand. One of them grew up where I live, in Papakura. I was a student there in 1956 and saw this man. Someone nudged me and said, that's Sir Edmund Hillary in a black singlet. I said, well, he doesn't look like a sir, does he? And wow, what a man, what a nation, and and the building of a nation. Burra Sahib, he was called. And tonight we had the pleasure of Tuk Ten teaching us a song that came from New Zealand. And if you know it, we want you to join us. And we're going to sing it now. Etu, stand up, my choir. E papa waiangi taku nei mahi, taku nei mahi he tu kuroi mata. Aue, aue, ka mate au, e hine hoki mai rā. Tēnā koutou, kia ora hui hui, the choir. Kia ora. Well,
thank you very much, Hare. That was a lovely introduction, and I'm really excited to be here with our friends from Nepal. A lot of these people and I go back a long way. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I was staying at Darputi, who is the first lady on the left here, and Ang Pasang with the hat on. I was staying at their hotel at 2,800 meters up there in the Himalayas. And also very involved with the Himalayan Trust in Nepal is Thukden down the end, and his wife Angdoka. But as an answer to Hare's welcome, they have agreed to do a Sherpa song and dance for you. Headphones on now. I don't know. This is an intelligence test. Oh, yeah. This is what rock stars do, though. Oh, yeah.
Is this right?
Huh? I think you've got it. Absolutely. The only unfortunate thing I have about this configuration is I think someone like Britney Spears wears one, which... yeah. All right, are we all in order here?
Yes.
You know, seeing them do that song and dance takes me back to when Sarah, who's right here, and I were young children going up into the Solu Khumbu. And I remember so often we'd be in a Sherpa house, wonderful hospitality, you know, eating boiled potatoes and chili and yak cheese and of course the local drink, chung and arak. And this was sort of home distilled or home brewed drinks. And of course as the night would go on, the stories would get better and the laughter louder. And we'd get tired and we children would go to sleep on the floor. And the old Sherpa houses had no chimneys, so the whole room would fill with smoke up to about that level above the floor, and literally inoculated against the effect of juniper smoke and burning rhododendron logs. Our parents would carry on singing and dancing and celebrating with our Sherpa friends, and we kids would be lying on the floor. And I just remember going to sleep with songs like you just sang. So it brings back lovely memories. So thank you very much for that. But I wanted to start by introducing our four friends here from the Solu Khumbu, the Mount Everest area. And I've dug out today a whole lot of old photographs from my parents from some of those early trips. And many of them are of them many, many years ago. So it's a way for them to introduce. So if we could start those still images, and I'll get you all to provide a commentary on what we're seeing. So who have we got there, Ang Pasang?
This is me. I'm a good boy.
He's a very handsome young chap, isn't he? Well, He's the cook at Kundi Hospital. This
Good
is
hospital, yes.
not long after Kundi Hospital was opened.
Yeah.
Peter, would you like it or do you want me to?
Which one do I?
The
Top one. Okay.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Trying to learn how to wave.
And this was a Kunjum school,
Yeah,
wasn't
going
it?
to school.
Yeah.
3 girls. At that time, we have got only 3 girls going to school.
And this
No
was the
other
first
girls.
school that
First school.
Ed Hillary built.
Me? Oh, yeah. Oh, this is me too.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is me,
I'm a bit of a fan, you know.
Ah, this is a prize from Barasat. Hillary.
And the headmaster on the right there. Sham? Yeah.
Oh, that time I had a long hair, see?
Yeah.
I don't have now. Oh, Doma Samji. Doma Samji.
Samji.
Was a
Yeah, her husband worked for Solomon for a
yeah,
long time.
long time.
Ansering, yeah. So it was
Ansering,
one
yeah.
of my father's great helpers. And this
This is
bearded,
Barasat, you know?
this is my father.
Oh, Solomon Hillary,
Solomon
Barasat.
Hillary.
Wow.
And here he is
This is
arriving.
in Thane.
Tami school.
Yeah,
It's
Thane
a
school.
our neighbor town. It's 3 hours walk from our village.
This is where Tenzing Norgay was brought up.
Right.
And also Upper Sherpa.
Upper Sherpa. Yeah,
A
Upper
famous
Sherpa.
climber.
Yeah.
You know Upper Sherpa? 21 times up Mount Everest.
Oh, that's my grandfather.
Nimatashi.
Especially in the middle.
Was
Oh,
grandfather.
Muslim one, huh? Oh,
That's it.
Oh, Mingma.
There's a better one.
I love
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So many of the elders, you see the elders there in their old hats and their bakus, their cloaks.
Yeah.
And these are a whole group of regular helpers.
Oh, for me.
Yeah,
Ah,
I'm
what was I? No.
That's
Oh, Pasang. Oh, no.
Pasang again. Oh, he keeps showing up, doesn't he? And that's Sarah and Belinda and me just out of sight over on the left. So this was the first class at Kunjum School back in 1960,
60 or 61.
61.
61 we start.
And oh, there you are again. I've got so many photos of Duff. And the chairman for the Himalayan Trust, Nepal, Amrita, is back there, sort of mid on left.
Right, that one.
And the first headmaster who came from Darjeeling, Temdorji. So this was the first school up there in the Upper Kumbu.
Oh, yeah.
And this was the part of the opening ceremony. And you can see my mother sitting down there. And everyone's getting ready.
That time we had only this silver heart building.
Yeah. So Kunjum School has certainly changed a lot.
Lot.
Now look at this village. For any of you who've been up into Kumbu, you really wouldn't recognise this now. The houses are all 2-storied houses.
That's my house.
And Tukton, where's your house?
Oh, it's in the corner.
Oh, around the corner. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, that is the first schoolhouse. But now the whole of that playing area is a big playing field in the middle, and there are buildings all the way
I
back
think,
up
we
towards the
have
white
now
sand.
more than 15 buildings. So that time it was only primary school, and now it become a high school. So
Jordan's still there.
Yeah, that's
Jordan
so
still
interesting.
there, yeah.
It looks very
Ah, there's a
good.
tribute.
And there he is, Ed Hillary and my mother, and this one was back in 1970. Now, as was mentioned when Rachel introduced us, Dad did rather enjoy building bridges, airstrips and water systems, but he really liked airstrips. And he tended to build airstrips with attitude, and this was Lukla airstrip.
That's where I have got my lodge.
Yes.
And if you'd like to get her card so you can go and stay there, Ang Pasang and Daputi can give you very good accommodation. Special rate maybe, I don't know. But now the airport has bitumen on it, it has a security fence around it, And there are many hotels. But the best one, of course, is Sapa.
So,
Yeah. But that was one of the early landings.
oh, yeah.
Oh, and there's Uncle Pasang again. And that was me on one of those early trips, 1972,
With hair.
cooking up some food. And this is a shot of down in the Solu Valley,
Long time.
where Andoka comes from. And Pafu airstrip here. And the hospital, Pafu Hospital, is up on the left.
There's also older pictures.
There's an old family.
Yeah.
I had to walk from 3 hours from
Now,
This is my father and my mother with Mr. Ed and Luis
and Inger,
and Inge.
Boris Lasanovich's wife, and this is at the Royal Hotel, the first hotel in Kathmandu. So this is back in
1961.
Was it
1961.
61?
Just before my parents met the Queen Elizabeth.
Yes.
So I must be in his robe here.
Oh, that's the bulge in the
Right,
ingie. That's the bulge in the ingie.
yeah.
Sure.
And I think your father was very impressed with his meetings with the royal family,
Queen
wasn't he?
Elizabeth, yeah, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip back in 1961.
Oh,
Yeah.
lucky one.
Oh,
There he is again.
this is me here.
Just tucked in that one in the front with the blue sweater on under his jacket.
And the
This must be
intelligent
in
look on his face.
1971. This picture should, yeah, 71.
And you see, I have one of those benches at my house here in Auckland because the headmaster was getting fancy and new stuff. But it's actually, kids, you know how kids sort of graffiti things sometimes. Well, this has got Sherpa graffiti on the side of it.
Oh, tucked in.
So instead of saying Tom Jones was here, it goes something like, you know, Ming McGalgan was here or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and there he is again. All right, so maybe we can go back to the. I'm afraid I'll get pulled back by the table. Now I move into my interview mode. So I'd like to sort of start talking to our four guests from Nepal and asking them about a whole range of things, you know, from their own upbringing, their experiences with Ed Hillary, the Himalayan Trust, climbing on Everest, but also about the politics in Nepal. So we're going to sort of wander through a whole range of those issues. But I was wondering if each of you could sort of talk to me briefly about your early upbringing. How did your day start? Did you have other jobs? What age did you go to school? Just a bit about your early life.
Yeah. I can't remember when I went because I was quite young. At that time, girls are not supposed to go to school and work at home. But my father went to Darjeeling, Kathmandu for an expedition, looking for an expedition. Then he said he knew how the value of the education. He always tell me to go to school, and my grandfather and my mom says, okay, work at home because I haven't been to school and we are okay. But my father always says, go to school, go to school. Then I went to school. I was, at that time, we had only 3 girls going to school, and I was very lucky. And when later on, I started a lodge in Lukla, and and people, the guest comes, and I say, okay, good morning, good evening, what would you like to have, and everything. Oh, and they are astonished to see me. Do you speak English? Oh. Then I said, yes, I've been to come to school first. I was the first girl to go to school, and I was very lucky. And it is everything because I've saw it. And New Zealand people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Andoka.
Yeah.
Oh, it's contagious. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
I born in Junbesi, is just very below to Kumjung. Then I also studied in Hillary School from grade 1 to 7. Then after grade 8 to 10, I got a scholarship from Hillary. So I had to go from 3 hours far from my house. Then after grade 10, I come back to my same where I grown up. I come back to school, Hillary School, and I was first lady teacher in Hillary School, and I am very good for the mathematics, and I teach grade 1 to 5. I teach the mathematics. That is just like a payback to Hillary. So I feel like that. I am very happy for that. And for my family is study forces. Hillary is very good friend from my father, and my father is first chairman of the Hillary School in Zimbabwe. That's the reason I got study to the Hillary is what I have to say this friendship, and my father sent a school, and why I come back to Hillary teacher to Hillary School is to support to other girls. Girls can do also something. So that's the reason I come back to teach Hillary School. I think I don't know. I teach like for 4 or 5 years, and at that time my salary is like 345 rupees. That is nothing, but but I did it. So because I feel that there is support for other girls, we can do also something. Yeah.
Uncle Pasul.
Sorry, my English, broke English now because I don't have much educator. Because my friends, they no educator role and no healthy, no rich. So I didn't go many days for school. I learning with Edmund Hillary trucking and building. And 1963 I was in cook boy, and 64 I was cook. And after learn English, little English for with Barastap's group, building airport and school, hospital. Just I learning this only little English. And Barastap is very kind Kumbu area, so everybody learn English, and we are hospital free, medicine free, doctors. They all in Quincy Hospital. We get very lucky. Yes.
He's second father for us. So.
Yes.
I should add about Uncle Pasul that he became Dad's favourite chef up there in the Himalayas. And then one year he came back and he couldn't believe it, but his close friend, Dudley Spain, the military attaché at the British Embassy, had hired him to work to cook his food down in Kathmandu, so he couldn't have Uncle Pasul anymore. So he was in hot demand.
So my father, Konjo Chumbi, and Sir Edmund Hillary traveled around the world in 1960 with Yeti scarf. That it was the scarf. Yeti scarf was in our monastery. So they went through the world to scientific research, and they went in the Christmas time in London to also show the Yeti scarf to the Queen. But Queen was not there, and she was busy, or she was gone out of country. And she sent a message to Sir Ed and my father, I'm coming very soon to Nepal, and I would like to see you there in Kathmandu. So they came back to Kathmandu, and my father went back to my home. That is 18 days walk from Kathmandu to Khumjung. And suddenly my father gets a note that he should come immediately to Kathmandu. And my mother was pregnant, and he says, okay, let's go. My mother, and they walk from my village towards Kathmandu. And after 14 days of walk, I was born on the way. And they did not stop. They had a launch and they continued walking to Kathmandu. Because my father was worried he will not, he will miss the chance to see the Queen and Prince Philip. And then they reached Kathmandu after 18 days walk from my village. After 4 days I was born. And then on the 7th day, my father, my mother, Sarid, and everybody went to see the Queen in British Embassy. And we Sherpa, as you saw this, robe. Yeah. So my father took me in his robe here. And Prince Philip asked, "What is this?" He said, "This is my son." And then, it was a surprise. And how old is he? He says, "Well, it's 7 years old." "And did you name him?" No, we did not have time. So he said, "Call him Philip." So my name is Thupten Philip Sherpa.
Wow, what a start. So I wondered if you could each tell us a little bit about your education. I know, Dafuri, you've mentioned going to school.
Yes.
Did you go right to high school, or did you do training after that?
Well, at that time there was only grade 5 in Kumjung, and but my father died in expedition, and then
Which mountain was he on?
it was in Everest. He died in Everest. So I really like to go on further study, and then I went to Kathmandu for the study, and that's in one of the convent schools. And then I could not finish my school level because I've got lots of things at home, because my mother had died all the children, and we have got grandfather, mother, and myself living, and we have got 2 aunts, which is they are quite dumb, and we have to look after these people, and we have got many cultures that we have to involve. So I came back.
So the family responsibilities.
Yeah, family's responsibility.
Were the relatives you talked about, did they have some sort of issues with from goiter? Was that a...
No, like relatives. Yeah, they before all these we used to have in one family at least 2 or 3 dumb and deaf child. So my grandparents has got 2 dumb and deaf daughters who could not nobody married them.
So the family, they had to stay in the family.
Yes,
So a lot of extended family responsibility. And Andoka, for you, did you do teacher training? Did you go somewhere to
I
learn how to
didn't
be
do
a
the teacher training. At that time, we have not that.
So what did you do? You left school and you just had to try to teach?
I just finished the class 10 exam. Then I come back to Dunbesi school, to Hillary school. Then I just started to go teach mathematics to grade 1 to 5.
This was very typical of a lot of teaching in village schools, and it's one of the important things that the Himalayan Trust and our supporters are involved in, which is teacher training, to help teachers be great teachers.
Yeah, right.
And those days did not exist teacher training or anything. Those who have education, they can immediately work in the school.
When I came back, then I worked in Kumjung school as a volunteer for 3 months. Then afterwards, I got a job in Kundri Hospital to be interpreter, especially interpreting between doctors and patients. And also I helped a lot for family planning, because women are too shy to go to male doctor and talk about their family planning, and also delivering babies as well.
But the family planning is quite a different situation up in many parts of Nepal than it is here, isn't it? We were talking earlier about infant mortality and other issues to do with childbirth. What were the statistics in your household? For
In
your
my
mother?
household, my mother had got 11 children and all died except me, because at that time there were no hospitals. After the hospital, one ceremony came and built a hospital, then the average of the children's death is gone from 90 to 5%. Now, it's so, and also about family planning, before my grandmother had 15 children, most of them are died, like 7 survived. And same case my mother and many others did the same thing. At that time there was no family planning system and nobody knows about that, and there's no hospital. And nowadays in Kumbu, 3 is the maximum, 1 or 2, that's all.
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
huge
during
change.
those days when you have more children, you are more wealthier.
Yeah.
Because you can work in the field, you can,
Yeah.
but now it's opposite. If you have more children, you have to pay a lot of money for
Lot of money, yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
so,
see the education, sir?
Tukton, what was your education after school?
I'm very lucky that the year that I born, the Solomon Hillary built a school in our village, 1961. And I went to school when I was 5 years old, and I did until the school at the beginning was only primary school up to 4. So my brother, my sister went up to 4, and then my brother they sent to Salary. Solomon Hillary arranged for further education down to Salary. But my
It's
sister,
the district headquarters.
district headquarters, and my sister, they were not, after 4 they have to quit because it's far away. And my time, it became secondary school. I can study up to 7th grade. And then I went down to Kathmandu for 8, 9, 10 to do my high school. And then after high school, I started working with my brother, because that time we had high school is good enough for working and making a living. So I started working with my brother, who had a trekking agency, who was, who did earlier school in Kumjung. Then he went to Saliri. He did high school from Saliri. And all from the Himlan Trust, and Solomon Hillary helped from them. And
Well, my next question you were leading into, which was about after school going into business. So you moved into the tourism industry.
tourism industry.
And of course, this came from absolutely nothing, and now it is one of the principal businesses of the Solukhumbu Himalayan region. Tell us about your business and how it has developed.
The mountain travel, that was first trekking agency in Kathmandu. Also, it used, I think, most of their logistic things during earlier. And my brother worked for mountain travel a couple of years. And then, the tourism was expanding, and then he thought he will have his own company, and he opened a company in 1982. And then I joined with him, and we hire people, most of the people from Solukhumbu, and we are still doing this business, and yeah.
Yeah, the tourism is one of the most important areas of business for Nepal. And another one, and you see this in a number of poor countries around the world, is in fact people who leave the country and who, it's remittance. It's basically people leaving and sending money back. And you go out to Kathmandu airport and it's just amazing. The aircraft are filled with Nepalese going away. And hopefully bringing in people from the outside like ourselves to go on treks and mountaineering expeditions
also,
and
yeah.
so on. Daputi, what about your business with running a hotel? Had you done any training? How did you...
No, I didn't do any training. I first,
Did Ang Pasang do the cooking, or...?
he
Yeah, first
taught me
time.
a little
Yeah.
bit, but not much.
Oh, this is getting a bit personal.
He taught me a little bit, not much, but when I came...
Dudley Spain said he was a culinary prodigy.
Oh, no, I just heard, but I had nothing experience. When I was in Lukla working for a company as a store manager in charge and looking after the people who comes from Kathmandu, receiving them and sending to Kathmandu. Then afterwards, I've got 2 boys, and I think it was not enough for me to send them to school. And then there was one house on sale, and so we bought this one. To buy this one, I got quite a lot of land from my parents up in Gokyo, Lusa, a little bit further, Panga, all this. I sold everything to Ang Tukten's brother. And yeah, I sold everything to him, and I brought this house because I've got 2 boys to bring up, and if I go over there, we thought of having a restaurant in Gokyo, which is very high, like I don't know how many thousands, but I forgot. If I go, I thought if I go,
700 meters, I
yeah,
think.
if I go over there, I cannot send my children to school. If I stay in Lukla, then I could send them to school. That's why I started my business over there. And when I started business, I don't know how to start because I've got nothing. I've got no knowledge. I've never been to any restaurant in abroad or in Kathmandu, nothing. But with very bluntly, we opened this one. But I hired a cook from somebody who was working in a restaurant before, and maybe I was a little bit clever too to hire him, you know. And he taught me little by little, and after that I gradually learned how to run, and everything, all my menus I make myself, because when I go to some restaurants, I copy them and make my menus, you know. When book a room in our Punakaki, and over there we had a dinner, and I said, please can I have your copy of your menu? And she gave me a copy of menu, and I thought when we order all separate things, so I can know what it is looks like, you know. I taste a little bit there, I taste a little bit that, I taste a little bit of that, and I came and I said, maybe I can make this one in Lukla. So next time when you come, I can change that into my menu.
You know, 1 year
New Zealand
ago...
food.
Sorry?
New Zealand food.
New Zealand food.
Not fish and chips. We don't have fish.
No fish, no fish, sorry.
One year ago, I was at Daputi and Ang Pasang's restaurant, and a foreign gentleman looked across at Daputi and went, excuse me, do you speak English? And she said, yeah, not bad, what would you like? What about the development of the trekking industry? I mean, you've been running in the tourism area and trekking for a long time. How has that changed over the last 30 years?
After the Lukla airport expansion, and before we have only one airlines before the 1990s. So there was very limited of tourists going Everest region. And after 1990, after the democracy, so many people can have private airlines. They can go for a business. So many private airlines came, and then they operate their flights to Lukla.
Did you start a private airline?
Also, my family started a helicopter business during 1994 till 2004. almost 10 years. We were in the helicopter business, and after 90, the tourism really went up, and that's the way the life of the Sherpas dramatically changed up in the Himalayas, because the income was very good.
Yeah.
And nowadays, still growing up, the trekking industries, tourism, and at the moment the biggest industries is with the expeditions on the Himalayas. You know, Mount Everest is there, and it's a big, what you call, big industries. for
Well,
the
it's a
Mount-
big industry,
yeah.
and people are very interested in Mount Everest, and that's what I guess we need to talk about now, because, you know, Mount Everest is the highest mountain on Earth, has always been a bit of a magnet for, I think, philosophers over many centuries, but during the 20th century, progressively a great interest in climbing the mountain. What did Sherpa people on the south side of Everest think about, you know, those early climbers back in particularly the 50s and 60s? Did you think they were crazy, or were they on a special quest? What did people make of it?
In my point of view, I think they are brave people and challenging and brave people. But at that time, we don't even know what is expedition. Why they come for? You know, we don't even know. We are very blind about climbing. My father used to climb a lot. My father was in '53 with Sergeant Lorry's expedition, but still, whereas Sherpas goes for expedition because of money, not because of they want to climb. Okay, and then that's why we don't even know why they climb. Sometimes my father died in expedition in Everest, but after that I think they're crazy. I always request Peter, please go, please don't go, please don't go. I always say to Peter, okay? And then before that, we don't know why they climb. Don't even know the clue. In my point, what it is.
Well,
During those days, there was no records. Nobody knows what's behind there. You know, it was 1953, very difficult, and the equipment is
Well,
very heavy. Comparing to those days, you know, you have all the informations now, very light equipment. I think those days people have to carry up from above South Col more than 20 kilo. Now the same equipment is only 5 kilo. Before that 20 kilo, and now it's 5 kilo.
well, except that these days, of course, a lot of the really fancy climbers want to bring, in addition to the 5 kilos, their satellite phone. You know, and they need to make sure they can brush their hair because they're going to do a live presentation from high on the mountain. So that's a different aspect to it. But what do you think of the modern guiding situation? I know my father felt quite conflicted about it in some ways, because the great adventure that he and Tenzing and members of the British Mount Everest expedition, they had the mountain to themselves. They're out on this, you know, extraordinary adventure. No one else around. It was just the British group, the foreign group, and the Nepalese group up there on the mountain. Whereas today, it is an industry. It's like what you can see if you go to the European Alps. You know, there are literally hundreds of people up on the mountain. What do you feel about that, with such large numbers on Mount Everest?
Well, at Hillary and Tenzing's time, it was really tough because nobody has been on top. They have to look for their own path. They have to dig and they have to put their ropes by themselves. And the equipments are very heavy. But nowadays the equipments are very light and modernized, and everything is checked, you know, scientifically checked. And they have got tents, luxury tents in base camp, everything like a telephone, and the weather reports are sent by somewhere else. I don't know which country, but you know, sent. And they said this day, summit day. Okay, they are ready. In those days, they go blindly because what nobody knows what will happen next. Any moment can happen, anything. So it was very brave for them. And nowadays, there are many commercial expeditions, but everybody's aim is to reach on top of Everest. That's the main aim. Doesn't matter how they climb. There are many. Well, it is tourism is our industry. So we would like many people to come as much as possible. But hearing all these thousands of people climbing in one day is risk for the life of the climbers, and also we feel a little bit. What I feel is everybody, it's not very nice for everybody to climb Everest. We want Everest as a secret mountain, secret to us. That's what I feel. But we want as much as possible for our business and money.
What do you think, Antonia?
I am is very below from there, so I don't know about this expedition and everything. My husband is working in trucking office, but I'm not asking what is the going on and like that. So I don't have any idea about this.
She's a housewife.
Housewife, yeah.
In Solu, the people from below Lukla, they have their land is much better. They can grow everything. Whereas up in our area, we can grow only potato, buckwheat, and some vegetables, and we have to depend there. So we depend much with the tourism, whereas their land, they don't. If tourist comes, okay. If the tourist doesn't come, they have no, And as the office says, for our industries is tourism, and we want to have tourism, but people have to respect the mountain and rule and regulations, and if they do this, and the season before, you can climb in autumn or spring. Autumn is much better. Autumn means October, November. And now, October, November, we have no expeditions. Nobody comes for climbing Everest. I don't know why. I think now almost 10 years we don't see any expeditions. So the expedition is happening only in
the spring.
April and May. So April and May we have more than 25 or to 30 teams. That means one team we have 10 members. And 10 foreigners means 30 times 10 is 300. And then they employ equal number of climbing Sherpas. And then every team have about 5 or 6 base camp, So there are more than 1,000 people in the base camp. And now, as Dafuti says, everybody have a satellite phone, and everybody gets weather reports. And the weather report is always good between 20 May till in. So people all want to climb in this period. So there is maybe 500-600 people on queue, and it's quite young.
But I think we have to be consistent here. People I've heard say that, should they reduce the number of people on the mountain? And I think often when you're faced with a question like that, you can bring it down to the basics by actually asking yourself, should we stop the climbing on Mount Cook? Should we require in Chamonix in France that the French government stop the climbing on Mont Blanc to only allow 100 people to go up or something like that? And I think the answer is, that really is not going to happen, and it's not necessarily a good thing to happen. Alpine tourism is a very important industry in New Zealand. Look at all the skiing, the restaurants, the mountaineering, all the walking and activities, just as it is in the European Alps, and just as people in Nepal are developing there. So from my side, I'm inclined to think that we should encourage them to sort of improve the standards, but be able to make use of their asset, which is the Himalayas and Mount Everest, but look after the environment as well. Now I went up and I visited the base camp that Tugden's company were running, and I visited the base camp of a New Zealand mountaineer, Guy Cotter, and they've changed. They really have. They had lounge chairs, DVD players, carpeted floors. They would wear slippers inside the tents. It's not exactly what we used to have.
Right.
But,
Even a gas heater.
A gas heater.
Gas heater in the
there,
tents.
there you go. But just recently, you know, there was a lot of unfortunate media about an activity up on Mount Everest where there was a fight between a group of Sherpa climbers and some foreign climbers. What do you think of that, and what do you know about that?
I'll say both are wrong, because both Sherpas and foreigners have to follow the rules and regulations of the Mount Everest. Climbing is not a joke. Climbing, you have to be very careful. Any mistake can do any harm to you. So both has to be. In our saying, say one hand cannot clap. If you do like this, it doesn't make noise. To make a noise, you have to be like two hands, so it makes noise. That's why both are pretty wrong in their own side.
I think there was sort of a misunderstanding among the clients and the Sherpas. What happened is, you know, now we have so many climbing teams, and they have a meeting before they fix the route. And these three clients, there were special climbers from France, from Italy, and Swiss and British. They did not attend the meeting, the team meeting, and the team meeting said, okay, after 3 days they will make the fixing route from Western Kum. And that day no other climbers will allow to go up, you know. So the Sherpa understood, okay, we will make the routes and nobody will disturb us. So Sherpa start fixing the route, and then they suddenly see three climbers coming up. So they were really angry, you know. The Sherpas were really angry. Why you come? Because today we are fixing the rope, and we understood that you should not come. And they said, the clients shout because they did not attend the meeting. So if they would have attended the meeting, I'm sure there's no other ways. They will say, okay, we don't care about your fixing rope. We will go other side. They will understand, but they did not attend the meeting. That was their mistake. And normally Sherpas, for the clients, we say clients is always right. And they should have talked very nicely, understanding each other would be good. But in the high mountain there, about 6,500 meters, they were really, you know. So they start sort of, this is because of misunderstanding.
Oh, there's no question. Emotions are close to the surface at high elevation, so I'm sure that exacerbated that. Well, thank you for that. I'd like to show a little bit of footage now about the Himalayan Trust with a narration by my father before we talk a little bit about the schools and hospitals that he was so involved in and dedicated much of his life to.
Well, we climbed Everest and we left the region, not knowing if we'd ever return. Not knowing that for me, Everest would be a stepping stone to something far more satisfying right here within its valley. And never in my wildest dreams could I ever have imagined that here I'd be in my 80th year, being flown in by a Sherpa helicopter pilot back to the very place where this most satisfying 40 years of my life began. We built the Komjong scroll and got it rolling. I really thought that was going to be the end of it, but that was not to be the case. We had petitions from villagers many days walk away. The Sherpas not only have a great desire for education for their children, but they are also most anxious for the ability to have medical treatment, both for themselves and for their kids. And finally, way up in the little village of Kundi, we built the first hospital in the area, Kundi Hospital. In the Kundi Hospital, we have quite a lot of local staff, but generally we have 2 volunteer foreign doctors. But then a bit further down valley in the Solu district, where there's a much bigger population, there's also a very great need for a hospital. So we built the Buffalo Hospital. And there now we have a very experienced Sherpa doctor who is superintendent of the whole medical area and who really does an absolutely magnificent job.
Well, tell me, what do you think about, I mean, there was this man from New Zealand who kept coming back to Nepal several times a year after year. What did people think about this?
I want to talk one thing. So, my husband and doctor's English is better than me because of the Kunda's hospital's doctor's wife. Kunda hospital is very near the Kumjung school. So all the doctors' wives are used to come to teach English to them. So our teacher is like Chetri Baun. Chetri Baun, those who like to, they are Nepali, so those who pronunciation is not good. So I request to you people, if somebody want to come volunteer teacher, that is very good for our village.
There you go, Prue. We're recruiting tonight. Now, can we have a show of hands? Excellent.
Yeah. Anda.
Yeah. What do you think? I think he has built a Kumju school, and then after that, you know, he keeps on coming back because he has made many friends and he loves Nepal. He is very generous man. He is compassion. He has got a, in Sydney when we went to Dalai Lama's thing, he says you should have compassion. And I think he has got one of these compassion. And he want to help, seeing all these uneducated children and no hospital in the village, everybody dying, and we have got lots of problem with the goiters and deaf and dumb children because of we don't know what make that to us, but afterwards, after researching, Edmund has been researching that they came to know that it's deficiency of iodine. So seeing all this, he felt very sad, and he kept on coming, and also the Sherpas keep on requesting one after another school, one after another school, one after another school, 28 school, imagine, and 12 bridges, his bridges, and their bridges. They ask, oh, Hillary has come, please, we want our bridges over there, then hospital,
then clinic.
Then clinic. It kept on going and going and going and going for everlasting.
And you know, we as children, Sarah and I would say, where are we going for the holidays, Dad? Oh, we're going to build a school in the Himalayas. So we got involved in it too. It was certainly an incredible way to be brought up. What did you think of his character? You know, what sort of person did you think Ed Hillary Barasab was?
Very special. He's a very simple person. You know, he can adapt any food that local people eat. He did not have any problem. He was always happy to
What was
have
his favourite food, Uncle Sam?
Sherpas stew.
Yeah, shakpa.
Sherpas.
Yeah, he liked shakpa.
Yeah.
And what's the recipe?
Chicken stew.
He liked the chicken.
Yeah.
You
Chicken
have to
version
come
of it.
Rukla and taste.
Yeah.
And then they will tell the recipes.
If you were going on an Ed Hillary expedition, whenever they came to a village where they could buy some chickens, and then of course we'd just keep walking with live chickens, and the number would gradually go down.
But during that time in Khumbu there was nothing. And he come for almost a month. And then he survived from the potatoes and little vegetable, no fruits, even no sugars. So
That's when he started actually importing cans of Wattie's
Yes.
peaches, which was one of his favourite foods. And if Dad was ever feeling down, he'd just snap open a can of Wattie's peaches, and the whole complexion of the day improved. So, Now look, I'd like to ask you just quickly a few other things, sort of more about your country, about Nepal. When we first started going there, I mean, obviously it was a closed kingdom, and then when it was opened, foreigners like my father came in on the Everest reconnaissance expedition, and later on the king started a system, the panchayat system. So there was a monarchy and a single party system, and this evolved into a sort of fledgling democracy. And then there was a Maoist insurgency, and then back came democracy again. And at the moment, I think that there is no constitution, and there is a caretaker government with the head of the Supreme Court, judge. He is the caretaker government, isn't he?
right, yeah.
So what is happening now? When will there be an election? And what do you think will happen in terms of getting the constitution you need so that you can have a democratic process? I mean, if you don't have a constitution, there is no legal premise for actually having a government. So all of these things have to occur.
Mm-hmm. So right now I'm away for almost 2 months now. But recently I just looked in the internet that we will have election on 19th of November. Election date is already announced. And we have normally, last election we have about 35, 36 different parties. But now we have more than 170 parties right now.
170 parties?
170 parties. And now 170 party, out of 170 party, about 125 already show interest of election, and others are still, protesting. And the Maoist was the strongest party, and last year they were, the fraction in two Maoists.
One is more extreme Maoist, and the other is. I did read the leader of the main Maoist group said that. And this was out of the newspapers, he said that capitalism was part of Maoism. And I guess which sounds like a bit of an oxymoron, but I guess he was looking across the border into China and the way they do things there.
Yeah. So we really hope these extreme Maoists will also join the elections. This is the only way that we should have a constitutional election and have a stability of government in the future. We have last 16 years, political problems and everything went wrong. And all of our young people, they fled out of country because there's nothing, all our industries gone. So we really look forward to the elections in November.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that they've set a date for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say that I think I really admire a lot of things about Nepal, and one of them is that where many countries have dissolved into terrible insurrection and civil war. Yes, there was a Maoist insurgency, but this was nothing compared to what the French did or the Americans or the British at various times. And I feel a great deal of optimism for a good outcome. And to hear the election date is set, that's a great step by the caretaker government, this judge. Where do you think Nepal will be, looking ahead over the next 50 years? What do you hope will happen?
We hope Nepal will have a peace. We don't, in my point of view, I'm not good at all this, politics things, but before we really like democracy, now and kings went away, we are quite happy, but now all this problem, after getting all this problem, we sometimes we say, oh, king was better, but it's still, we are very happy to hear that our election date is fixed, and we hope the election will go smoothly. And what we would like to have is peace. Our country was going quite further on, but after the Mao's came, they all destroyed everything, and we went like 30 years back, and we want to move ahead, and we want to go ahead and have a peace in the country, so all foreigners can come
In our country.
in our country, and we would like our country to be like New Zealand.
Well, I must say, we've had a lovely trip around parts of New Zealand, and it opened my eyes to what a wonderful place we have. But I think Nepal's a very special place too. And Nepal is one of the places where a lot of philosophies have flowered and developed. Buddha was born within the borders of Nepal. Who are the great inspirations and role models in your country? And what are the lessons that they teach us? You've been to a teaching lesson with the Dalai Lama in Australia just recently.
But in our country, in our Solukhumbu, I said the Tengbuche Lama is the great inspiration of our place. Because he is old, he is same age as Dalai Lama, 78 or something like it. But he is always, his thinking is always modern age. He kept on saying, please, because it's a kind of fashion going on. When Sir Edmund Hillary Trust was holding this school, the standard was very good, but afterwards the school was handed over to the government, and it dropped a little bit, not much. According to other government schools, it's very good, but still, according to the schools in Kathmandu, like paying a lot of money, that is gone a little bit. So to keep that, and also it's a sort of like a fashion, sending their children to school is, in Kathmandu is like, oh, I send my boys and girls in Kathmandu boarding school. It went in that fashion way. And most of children are going to Kathmandu for study. And then the Lama said, we should have a school in our place. So we should upgrade our schools. So the children stays in our place. They won't forget our culture. They won't forget our language, and so on and on. And in Parak means between Solo, where Angtoka was born, and Khumbu, where we are born. And Parak is in middle, where we had our lodge, Lukla, and all these are called Parak. This is between. And in that between, people cut wood, cut trees and sneakily, and goes to Namche to sell because they get quite a lot of money, and then at night sneaking. Then he said, well, it's not right to do that one. So he said, he told Mingma Nuru, one of my cousins, he was WWF Pacific director, and he died in 2004, I think, 2007. 2007, yeah, 2007. And he talked to Mingma saying, please, if you could provide seed of like vegetables, lots of seed of vegetables or fruits, they can grow. Their fertilizer is very good, so they can bring to Namche, sell. They can live, make a living, so they then don't destroy the forest. You know, if they get money out of that, then they don't destroy this one. And all this, and he also established the SPCC, where people can, the NGO can come put money, and also at the, now we put, like lodges put some money and other people as well, so that we can hire some more people and collect our own garbage or something like that. And
well, it's important to really develop your own systems, and that's one of the things the Himalayan Trust has wanted. It's like with the teachers and the medical staff, it's all been going, they're all local people running these things and providing this sort of infrastructure. And that's a really critical part of it.
Yes, and being so old, at those times, the lamas and monks, they stay in a cave, praying, do nothing. But whereas he comes, he hasn't traveled a lot in the foreign country, but still he reads only the Tibetan language, not the English, nothing English, about English, nothing in Nepali, doesn't read any newspaper. He sometimes loved to listen to the news by radio, small radio, but still he's very, very active in this way, telling people do this one, do that one, this is good, this is bad, and all these things, you know, I really admire him. Yeah, in that way. I think he hasn't got the mentality of very old age, but he knows how to go with these modern
yeah, he
ways.
always advises something.
Yeah.
Well, what sort of advice would you, or would Rinpoche perhaps, do you think, give to the Western community, to New Zealanders, and how we should live our lives better? Just, I thought I'd throw that in. Well, I'm always hoping to get a bit of a tip.
No, Rinpoche used to say, you know, you do good things to go to the heaven, you know. So when we came here, we think this is the heaven. Here you have everything, you know.
Oh, you're a crowd pleaser with that sort of statement. Oh, you're good. So that's Asian trekking. Look it up online, and that's the man. You get a bit of philosophy. But look, I'd just like to sort of end with a few questions about the future of the Himalayan Trust. What is your vision for the Himalayan Trust? Daputi and Tukten, you're on the Nepalese committee and direct a lot of the projects that we have now. What's your vision for, say, the next 10 years?
Well, our vision is, well, we have got a lot of schools to look after, like 63 schools and many things to look after, and also many things to go. We have got many problems in our place. According to you, when I come to your country, oh, this is heaven, this is good, this is all water coming at once, all this very facilitated, but we have got lots of problems. But we would like all the Himalayan Trust to go, because of not only 10 years, like 50 years to go.
Okay, we'll do it. But we need your support. So, and we need yours too.
Yeah, all support.
From you all.
You know, comparing 50 years, we are quite spoiled. You know, 50 years ago, we had to go to fetch water 2 hours in the hill, and the ladies during the night, because if you go early, the well, the small well is have plenty of water. Otherwise, you go and you have to wait 1 hour. And then now we have a tap system in the middle of the village, so you have to walk only 10 minutes to carry. But when we see here just opening like this, so we need this type of things to improve, for example. And now, my time when I enrolled in the primary school, we were 16. And then when I went to secondary, that means when I was 13 years old, only 6 in the secondary school, because everybody goes for work, they have to work. But now, everybody goes to high school, and even they want to go to high school, college, university. And we need, now Himalayan Trust have been helping already 50 years. Last 50 years they have done a lot and lot. But it's improving, and we need still to go another 50 years to have all these facilities where I see here in New Zealand. So I think it will take another 50 years, and we need your support.
Well, while there's unquestionably up in Solukhumbu there have been huge advances in education and healthcare, and we're very proud of what has occurred up there. But Nepal is still one of the poorest countries. There are huge infrastructure challenges, but more importantly, people have great health issues and education issues. So there are certainly lots of opportunities for us to keep very busy for another 50 years, and that's what we'd like to do. But finally, what do you think Ed Hillary's vision would be for the next 50 years, from your knowledge of him?
Sorry, we had always opportunity to meet until last moment. Our last meeting in Kathmandu was 2006, and his vision was he was always the Khumjung school. The education is the most important. We should educate everybody, so everybody can have education and they can help their own country in the future. And then he gave us the health. But now our health situation is much better. As Dafuti mentioned earlier, people they have a lot of children because they never knows, within 20 years how many children they will die. So now that's no problem. Everybody have 2 or 3 children, that's most. So health is already coming, but still, So we have to emphasize more in the education in the future. Like teacher training is very good at the moment. And now we have, the Kunda hospital was built in 1966, and there was no Sherpa doctors until 2004. So now we have a Sherpa doctors, and he is taking care of Kunda hospital, and there more Sherpa doctors are coming in the future, which is very good, because before every 2 years you have to come new doctors from New Zealand or other country, and then they have to start 6 months, and it takes, it's quite difficult for everybody. But now we have many local people, doctors, engineers, pilots, and even in the government services. Before, Sherpa did not have any education and nobody was in government. We have no police officer, we have nobody in the government. So it was very difficult to contact with the government, to get something from the government. Now it's coming up, and we still need your help for next 50 years, and then I think we will improve.
We at the Himalayan Trust are very keen to continue the work. It's a real New Zealand activity. New Zealanders have been making a difference in the Solukhumbu area since the Everest reconnaissance in 1951, numerous expeditions, the search for the Yeti, the building of schools, high-altitude physiological research, and on it goes. And we're determined to maintain that momentum. And tomorrow night, we have our first fundraising dinner here in Auckland, the first in many, many years. And while it is sold out, you can go online and bid on the auction. Now, this is, I'm just letting you know this. So if you go to the Himalayan Trust website, you can see all the items and use your cell phone and make a bid if you'd like to support the Himalayan Trust. So I'd just like to perhaps leave it there and thank you very much for coming this evening. And if any of you would like to ask some questions later on, we're happy to hear them. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask? Now, brilliant. I'll just bring the microphone up to you.
I have two questions, and I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but
Dawaputi, yes.
Yeah. I'd like to know what is your business name for people maybe who want to...
Do you want to make a booking?
Maybe. She sounds like she's got a restaurant that people might like to try.
Okay, Paradise Lodge, look like.
Paradise Lodge.
Yeah. I can give you a card.
You sound like a very good businesswoman. My other question is, besides the money fundraising activities that you've got happening, what things do you need from people in New Zealand to advance your education, schools, system, whatever?
Well, there are two areas. We have a teacher training program, and run by Jim Strang down in Christchurch, along with his colleagues in a little NGO in Kathmandu, and they go out to all these schools and they train teachers to be better teachers. And a lot of the teachers were literally sort of rote learning on a blackboard, to bring them more up to date. They don't have access to all the technology in most places that we can, but nonetheless really lift that the state of teaching. And the other area is something that I've been talking with, by the way, Prue Smith here is the new general manager of the Himalayan Trust, is actually we need people to go in there and be prepared to stay for like 3 months and go to schools and help with teaching English. And so that would be very valuable. And you heard Ondoka talk about how obviously Thukdin and Dawaputi have benefited from having some of the doctors from Kundi Hospital nearby go to Kunjum School and take English classes. So that's an area that is of great value. So Prue will be taking a list of your names. And if we multiply 3 months by the number of people here, I think we've got it covered for 50 years.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Oh, I've got a question.
Nice to see you here tonight.
Sarah, you're not allowed to ask difficult questions.
The family hold back.
Well, my question was, how does the environment, how high does that rate in terms of priorities for the Himalayan Trust, or anybody? I mean, is that important, the sorting out environmental matters? Forestry and...
Yes, Sir Edmund Hillary established this 1974 nurseries in the Sagarmatha National Park. And Nick Legard, a forest engineer from Christchurch, he spent 25 years in, he keep coming, and they have planted more than, I think, 15 million trees in that area.
Number.
In this Sagarmatha National Park.
Of course, they do take an extraordinarily long time to grow at that elevation, but you've got to think ahead.
These rhododendrons.
There are rhododendrons, blue firs, junipers, what else?
Pine,
Pine,
local trees.
All local trees.
all local varieties.
And Himalayan Trust is still looking after these nurseries. Even though last 2 years back we hand over to the government, but government did not have the money because they have to use their money for other purposes. So now we are still looking after this nursery in Sagarmatha National Park. We have 4 nursery caretakers, and they are still producing a lot of seedlings up in Sagarmatha National Park.
I actually think the environment is just fundamental. It doesn't matter whether it's in the Himalayas or New Zealand or Australia. You know, the environment is where we live. And if we're not going to look after where we live, it's like, you know, not keeping your own house in order. We have to look after the environment. And I personally, as a member of the board of the Himalayan Trust, I see the environment. The environment is a critical issue for our work in the Himalayas.
All over the world.
Yes, all over the world. One more over
If
here.
we would like to donate money, what is the website to donate money to support your efforts? You just give us the website and how much does one get for donating X number of dollars?
Well, I mean, you can just make a donation through the website, himalayantrust.co.nz. But also you can join and become a member of the Himalayan Trust. We're just sort of finalising some of those membership details. We want people to join the Himalayan Trust. And what will we provide members? Well, we have newsletters so you know what's going on. We inform people about, well, events like this, that we have guests like you've had tonight, so that, like for example, when they were down in Christchurch, Himalayan Trust members in Christchurch attended a restaurant gathering, and they were able to enjoy the company of our 4 guests from Nepal. So those sorts of activities. And of course an invitation to dig into your pocket again and come to our dinner tomorrow night. But as I said, that's sold out. But there will be one next year. So note it down in your diary.
Thank you.
We do have a last question here just at the back.
Okay.
Peter.
Have you found that there's been any pressure to sort of change the crops that you grow to suit all the tourists' diets and things like that? Or to move away from your traditional crops or so? I'm thinking of meeting somebody else's taste buds rather than what's actually best to grow for yourselves.
Yeah, have you felt, you know, because of the tourists coming and they like to eat different food, have you started growing different crops, different grains, different vegetables, that sort of thing?
Yes. Before we used to have just potato and buckwheat.
Or buckwheat and potato.
Or just 2 things. Now people are growing cauliflower, cabbage, salad, and carrot, peas, you know, and many kinds of vegetables, seasonal vegetables. Also, even now they start making a greenhouse in winter so it doesn't get frostbite from the snow. So we even make a greenhouse, and in winter also we can have fresh vegetables. That's how we like. That's how we produce our local. And out of potato, before we had got only one kind of potatoes. Now people from outside in Nepal, there are other kind of potatoes they bring and plant it. When you change the potatoes seed, a different kind of potatoes, then it grows more in our soil than it was before. So we also changed the, what to say, the seeds, seeds, different kind of seeds, you know. So we can have more potatoes.
So the greenhouse concept was from Kunda Hospital.
Yeah.
The doctor's wife used to build, you know, a long time ago. We thought, what is this tent? You know, we were quite surprised. And then they go there, they bring green vegetables, and they have a green vegetable. And later on, people learn from there. But it's not, at the moment, it's not professionally doing. It's just a few people are doing. But it will come, I mean, so now many young people are coming up and technology is learning. So it will take time, but it's coming. And then we import also many things. We have access now at Lukla Airport. We have many flights coming from Kathmandu, and we bring most of the things from Kathmandu. Because it's much cheaper to bring from Kathmandu than to work up in the mountain. It also takes long time, and labor is much more expensive up there than in Kathmandu.
And we grow some tomato and cucumber as well, according to our seasons. So it works well, but as Tupin says, we need technology, and we need like big greenhouse and look after every now and then. And now, in that way, we are, we are changing our food style of growing as well.
So, okay.
Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, sorry. It's a quick spiritual comment. I'm just wondering, the conflict between spirituality as the Sherpas know it and tourists who come in who unwittingly cross the barriers without realizing it. I go back 20 years and we were trekking in the same areas that you have been talking about, and we noticed there was a certain reluctance of any children who happened to be even accidentally in a photograph to have their photographs taken. And someone suggested to us that it was because if you take a photograph of someone, you are in a sense taking a little of their spirit away from them. Is that still there, or does it?
No, it does not exist now. It was long time ago, but it doesn't exist now. No more. If you go now and take a picture, they will love it.
Very happy. Also, what happens is for spiritual, when people die, so if my parents died, for example, we also throw the pictures. We don't keep the pictures, for example. This was the case, but now we are always searching the pictures because we want to. Before, we don't have our grandparents' pictures because they are all born out, So we are now. It's a change because of the education, and it's a change. So taking picture is no more problem, and we were very happy to see my mother in there, in the museum. There she is there, which I haven't seen for a long time. So there's no problem. And before the Sir Edmund Hillary Himlan Trust, now last year we celebrate 50 years, and you think, why this 50 years? What happened is Sir Ed built more than 27 schools, and 2 hospitals, 2 airport. He built many clinics together, with the hospitals, and bridges, water systems. And this project was handed over long time back to the government. But from this 27 schools, it expanded now 63 schools. And what we are doing at the moment is we are providing, Himlan Trust is providing everything, stationery, pencil, copies, textbooks, and teacher trainings, for example. And we are taking, Kunja Hospital is fully supported by Himlan Trust. Pablo Hospital is handed over to the government, but still medicines and extra doctors are taken care by the Himlan Trust. And then we also like environment, some people ask they want to do this, planting trees, and they want to have a fence in the area. Himlan Trust is still doing this. So we have more than 700,000 New Zealand dollar expense every year. And we are very thankful from the government of New Zealand that we are getting a good number of funds. And then we have some, so it's good friend in Canada, good friends in America, and all this working together. And yeah, just
No, it's a great partnership, but it needs ongoing support. And if you're interested, take a look at the website, and you know, stay in touch with us as things develop over the next few years, and perhaps you can join us at one of the dinners to find out even more. And if there are some people who'd like to help with teacher training or language skills, English language skills, we'd love to hear from you as well. But I think I should probably wind it up now and say thank you very much for coming, and have a good evening.
Yeah.
Thank you.